Good day, folks. In this lesson, we're going to go over how to create the tiles that we're going to be using to generate our levels. So this is not too bad. Let's do a right click and just create an empty object, okay? And we're going to add a component. The component is going to be the sprite renderer, okay? The sprite renderer is going to bring up a sprite. What sprite are we going to associate this with? So, and this is one thing, I know it's just something small, but typically the default view for this is like this sort of narrow thing. If you expand it, you can see more of the sprites that are associated with your project. I have a few extras, but anyways, we're looking here for scavenger sprite sheet 32. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and select sprite sheet 32. We're going to also rename this to floor 1. And the sorting layer here is going to be set to floor. Okay, so now this is going to be our first prefab as far as for the level design. So we're going to go ahead and just click and drag this down. All right, there's floor 1. Now we're going to go ahead and associate this now with floor. We'll go ahead and set this to, it's going to be sprite sheet 33. Okay, and we're going to rename this to floor 2. Same exact settings, and now we're going to click and drag this down. Let's go ahead and just set this, if you get this error, not error, but it just says original prefab, and just set that as floor 2. Okay, so we've got floor 1, floor 2. You're going to want to repeat this process till you get to floor 8. Okay, so I'm going to pause it. But anyway, so the next step would be, call this floor 3. Okay, and then change the asset to the next one over. So that'll be 34. Okay, so there should, by the time you get to the end of this, there should be 8 floors. Okay. Anyways, I'm going to just pause it a second while I finish this process. So you don't just have to watch me do it. Okay, so floor 1 through floor 8. Okay, so we have floors 1 through 8. So that would be sprite sheet 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, and 39. Okay, so nothing too crazy there. Okay, so what are we going to do now? Let's go ahead and we're going to be making let's rename this now. We're going to call this exit. Now, what do you think the exit tile is going to do? All right, so we're going to go ahead and select find the exit tile and zoom in like this. Yes. Where is the exit tile? Right there. Okay, so we click on that. That will then be what we use to exit each of the levels. We're going to go ahead and set let's do a box collider, so a 2D box collider. And we're going to set this to is trigger because we want the player to be able to pass through it, but we want something to happen. We'll work on all the sort of other things with that in terms of the scripting and things like that. But for now, as far as our sorting layer, we're going to change this to items. All right. And the tag we're going to set to exit. And then I believe we're setting, we're just going to keep this just as the default layer. Cool. So there's our exit. Okay, so that's all set. And let's go ahead and just drag that down to our prefab. And of course, we'll just set that to original prefab. Good. All right, so now the next thing we're going to do is we're going to do food. All right, so we set this to food. And we're going to go ahead here to our sprite sheet, and we're going to go here to the cherries. Okay. The sorting layer we're going to keep on items. Okay. And we're going to go ahead and for the tag, we're going to set to food. And we want to make sure that this is kept as is trigger. Okay. So we've got our food. Let's drag that down to our prefabs folder. All right, and we're going to go ahead and do basically the same thing. We'll call it the soda. Set the tag to soda. And then we're going to change the sprite sheet to the soda. There it is, right there. Okay. And again, we'll be doing all the scripting and things like that. This is now just kind of we're setting up the components for the all of our scripts and animations and things like that will be set to. Now, did I set that sorting? Yes, I did. Good. All right. Just making sure I had everything set with this. Items. Yes. And then the tag is soda. Good, good, good. All right. So now the next thing is we're going to go ahead and create outer walls. Okay. So with this, let's set it so that the, we'll just change the name. We'll call this outer wall 1. Okay. And yeah, I'll keep the camel case like that. Now the sprite sheet we're going to go here is we're going to set it to number 25. So it's going to be like these guys. Yes. So this is going to be the outer walls. We're going to want to keep these sort of like they're going to be the edges of the map. All right. So is trigger we're going to disable. Okay. So in this case, this will make it so that we can't pass through it. The sorting layer we're going to set to floor, and the tag let's set to untagged. The layer we're going to set to blocking layer. And what this will do is this will be set so that like if a player tries to pass through it, it'll block him. Okay. And so what do we call this? Outer wall 1. Yeah, there we go. Outer wall 1. Outer. And we're going to do this outer wall 1, 2, and 3. So let's go ahead and drag this to our prefabs folder. Okay, and the only thing we're going to update with this is we're going to just increment it to the next one. So we'll call this outer wall 2. Drag that to our prefabs folder. And then finally, outer wall 3. Yeah, outer wall 3. I think that would be just the next one then. Oh, that's a bramble. I thought I had 3 outer walls. I'm going to pause this a second while I check my notes. All right, sorry about that, folks. So yeah, I got a little bit mixed up because it was not sequential in terms of the number of like which sprites is associated with which. So we had here outer wall 1 is sprite 25, 26, and then outer wall 3 is going to be sprite sheet number 28. That's where I got a little bit mixed up there. So anyways, we should have 3 outer walls that each have a box collider set to the blocking layer, and yeah, so that should be good here with that. So we can just say original prefab. There we go. So that's looking pretty good. So at this point, we should have 8 floors, 1 food, 1 soda, and 3 outer walls. We are pretty far along. Now we're going to be going ahead and doing inner wall 1 through 8. Okay, so in this case here, let's call this inner wall 1. Wall 1, okay. And the spreadsheet for this one is going to be number 21. And so these will be the things like in the game, if you saw, like it will be the things that the player can kind of like knock down. So we'll go ahead here, set this to 21. Okay. And we're going to set it's going to be set to the blocking layer, but then the sorting layer is going to be items. The reason being is like it's going to be drawn on top of the floor. So, you know, we'd made all these floor tiles. So these inner walls will be walls that will be, that you would write, like kind of, when you draw them, when you render them, it'll be drawn above, so to speak, the floors. So let's go ahead and keep on going with this. I want to make sure with our outer walls, did I set that sorting layer? Yeah, that's good. Okay. Anyways, so this will be here. We want to do inner wall 1. We set it to sprite sheet 21. We set the layer to, let's go ahead and change this to keep it to blocking layer. Okay, good. And then the sorting layer is set to items. Good. All right, so we've got inner wall 1. Go ahead and do this. Now we're going to be doing this through for 1 through 8. Okay, so I'm going to go here to number 2. And then I think what I'm going to do is after I finish this one, I'm just going to have like the sprite sheets that you should do. Like the sprites are going to be associated with these. I'll just have it come up on the screen. Okay? So we go prefab. So there we go. So we're going to repeat this process. Just give me a second here. I'm going to display like in the renderer what you should be looking for when it comes to the sprites you're going to be associating this with. Okay? All right, folks, so I'm just going to pause it and be right back. All right, folks. So I found it to be easier just to just show you the assets. So we're looking at sprite sheet 21 and 22, and then 23, 24, 27, 29, and 30. And 31. Sorry about that. So basically, it's the bramble rocks, bramble tire, bramble skull, and then like bramble kind of more significant rocks. So that's what we are looking at as far as the other walls. So now at this point, we have created prefabs for all of our different things. So make sure that you save your project, save your scene. And yeah, wish you the best of luck. Great stuff.